You know I love your brown skin.
So, welcome back to another episode on Danny TV. Today, I have a very special guest, Alexis. We go way back. We worked together at Old Navy when I was in high school at the St. Louis Mills. That gives you guys a picture of how long ago that was. You know how old that mall was? Yes. So, I'm super excited to chop it up with her, and we're going to get into her skincare business, Natural State of Mind.
Yes, I think we go back to like 2011. So it's been over 10 years now. Yeah, because I think we knew each other before we started working together.
Yeah.
And the moment we started working together, y'all, we just clicked.
Like that.
Like, it was just like that. So I'm so happy to see her. This is my baby, y'all, for real. Like, so much growth between the two of us, y'all. Y'all don't even understand how much we have grown. Like,
because if you knew us back then, we was a hot mess.
It was a hot, short-tempered, like, God was been working on us. Just know that He's been working on us. Yes.
I'm so happy to see the growth, though.
Yes, me too. Like, thank you, Lord.
Okay, so I know that you went to Alabama A&M, so tell me about that.
So, yes, Alabama A&M University in Huntsville, Normal, Alabama. So, it's about an hour from TSU, so right up in that little area. So, it's an HBCU. I think that was, like, the best experience of my life. It changed me so much. I feel like it took a little bit of that St. Louis rah-rah out of me and, like, just turned me into more gentle and calm. Honestly, I feel like I had a little bit of PTSD when I first got there because people there it was so much slower and they were so much trustworthy. And it's like in St. Louis, like when somebody's staring at you, you be like, why are you staring at me? Like, but down there, it's like they just be, genuinely looking or just, trying to figure out who you are or just, think you cute. And it's just, they had to humble me. It was so much humbling that had to happen when I went to school down there. So it was just like, it's the best experience for anyone to go to any HBCU because you learn so much about yourself that you thought you knew about yourself until you got down there. So I think I love my school. Through the good and the bad and the ratchet. I love it. It's the best experience ever. So, yes.
So, what was, like, your favorite lesson from the school or experience?
I guess really to be tap into what you're there for. Like, I think when you go off to school, you're thinking it's just a playground, but it's not. And my mom, she just instilled in me that you need to dress your part. So, literally, I would go to class every day looking good. I think not until like my senior year is when I started wearing sweats. Like, I dressed to impress. So, because you just never know. This could be your next business partner, your next manager, your next mentor. So, you want to be dressed to par. And that's honestly what HBCU are. It's like, we come to basketball games dressed up. Like, the atmosphere, it's like a fashion show every single day.
I love that.
Yeah, it's always a fashion show. So it's like you just dress for the part. So now when you become an adult, you just understand that you just never know who could see you. And especially when it comes to social media, just looking the part for your platform. And it just builds that brand creative part of yourself. So I think, if anything, I went for science, but that's what made me become more into just loving like my image of myself as well. So yeah, I definitely took that part from it.
That's funny because when you went to Central, girl, you used to stay dressing, honey, dressing.
And it wasn't even me, it was my mama. Like, until she did not play with me, guys. She was like, no, you need to look good every day because you just honestly never know. And I did a lot of organizations that wasn't in my school. Like, I did a lot of like Delta Incorporated, organization. So that was part of, their teaching, like etiquette. Like, we took etiquette classes. Like, they were honed in on making sure you look your part all the time. So it wasn't me. Now I finally understand it now and make sure I dress my part. But back then I didn't even like it.
So would you recommend an HBCU?
Oh, yes. I think I would recommend HBCU, of course, for undergrad. Let me not say I wouldn't recommend it for your master's because I feel like you always still need that other culture. Like, I love my HBCU and seeing my black people, and it gives you the opportunity to not feel like you're in competition. We in this together. So it's like, if you graduate, I'm graduating. So that's the mentality of it was. But you still need that diversity always. So, yeah, undergrad, when you're trying to learn yourself and establish yourself, you need people around you that are going through the same thing, understand what you're going through, and look like you. I can only imagine going to a school that is not that many people that look like me, understand me. So it helps you figure out your identity. Figure out where you came from. So I recommend it for anybody. Even if you don't even go for undergrad, go for your master's. Like, you just need something of that HBCU lifestyle.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah.
So you have a degree in biology. What made you pursue biology?
So I always been a geek, even though I was, even though I always,
Popular geek.
yeah, even though I always been social, I always been a geek. Like I was one of those kids used to read a lot, like love science. So I think biology kind of chose me. I am a almost 14-year survivor of something called Crohn's disease. It's an inflammatory bowel disease. So I was diagnosed when I was 12. So I feel like at that point I kind of like science, but I think God was just telling me like you need to go and get into that field. And I feel like there's not enough black people that like biology.
True.
So it's like I think we needed more people that look like me that are in that field. Like it's surprising it's a lot of women that's in that field. It's not a lot of men, but it's definitely a lot of women. But I just love science. I just love taking care of my body and teaching other people how to take care of my body. So once I got sick, I had to learn the ins and outs of myself. So having to learn what doesn't work for me and what does work for me, it was like biology just was the perfect match. But I went to school for biology, but my business is based around more of chemist. Like I'm a organic formulation chemist.
Okay, so you fancy. You bad
I
and bougie out
didn't
there.
put a little title on there, y'all. I didn't give myself a title, yes.
I like that because that fits you. Because that's so you.
So, a little nerdy, but social, yes, definitely.
So for people that don't know, I know this is kind of, you know, you can't ask a silly question, but what is biology? School me. School us.
I guess biology is learning the inside through the outside. Like I feel like when it comes to my business, I'm built around incorporating chemicals and ingredients into it that's basically going to help the body from the inside out. So I focus on the skincare, of course.
Okay.
It's skincare. So biology, it's like it sounds obvious, but I guess it's just the bio of the body. Like just learning allergies of the body, learning just sickness of the body. Like, of course, right now we're going through this pandemic of COVID, so knowing biology is the home that we need to know of this science, but it's just the science of the body. That's basically what biology is. Science of the body, learning the body through different systems. So, from your endocrine system to, your cardio system, just learning parts of the body. So, I guess, am I saying it right? Yeah. I guess it's just learning the body. It's the science of the body, basically.
Okay, cool. So, and then you did mention that you are a survivor of Crohn's disease. So,
yes.
Congratulations, and
Thank
I'm happy for you.
Yes.
So, how was that coping with that during college?
Honestly, it didn't hit me until I was about to graduate from college because my senior year of college was my most stressful. I was taking biochemistry, and it was horrible. It was just very stressful, and I feel like that's when my illness started to take a toll on me again because I was sick. I mean, of course, I was diagnosed when I was 12, but I've been in remission for about 11 years. I didn't started feeling sick again until I think it was like 2018. So I had just graduated from college, December 2017, and then I moved to Atlanta. So, I was fortunate enough to not have to worry about being sick while I was in college. Like, I think, though, 4 years of eating the calf took a toll on my body, and I didn't really realize it until I left college. Like, all of that stress and processed food, it literally, my body just shut down on me. Yeah, so it was just, it's a learning experience because it's like, wow, why is our school that we're paying feeding us such trash food? Like, even though I love my HBCU, but the stuff that we're being fed is just not okay. I'm not going to say it's prison food, but it's not something that someone is going to become a doctor should be eating. Like, it's just contradicting the science.
That makes sense because it's nothing that you would want to eat at home.
Right. I wouldn't go home and cook any of this. And it's like you spending $3,000 to $4,000 a semester to be getting fed stuff that's not going to feed your mind. It's not feeding your mind. So it's like, it's a contradiction. And it's sad, but we have a great chef that works at our school now, Cooking with Cam. I love him. He literally went to our school and started his business at our school, and now he's a chef there. So now he understands bringing that organic back to our school. So
I like that.
Literally, our football team has been excelling. Basketball team has been excelling. It's just like now you see that when I was in college, they wasn't as good. But it's like now we have someone that cares about the food they're bringing in. They're doing so good, and that's like I hope they understand that food, ties in with athletics. Like, come on, like you got to eat good to be able to get out there and perform your best. So
you have that energy and that
right,
drive.
have that energy and that drive to want to get up and really pursue what you're doing. So it's like, I'm all about foodie. I'm a foodie. So it's like having that good food, that it's essential to your mind, of course. So yes, of course, natural state of mind. Like that's why I started incorporating different fruits and vegetables into my soaps because it's like you're not gonna eat it, I'm gonna put it in your soap then. Like, I'm gonna give you a way to get
that.
get the vitamins that you need. Like, because it's surprising a lot of people that I know don't eat certain fruits and vegetables. That's common. Like, people don't eat bananas or oranges. So, okay, I'm gonna put it in the soap then.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's smart. Okay, I see it. I feel the
Yeah,
vibe.
I'm ready today.
So you are from St. Louis.
Yes.
You've lived in Alabama.
Yes.
You've lived in New Jersey.
Yes.
You've lived in Atlanta.
And I lived in Dallas.
In Dallas? Okay, she's schooling me. I ain't know about Dallas. So tell me about these experiences, and which place is your favorite and why?
So, of course, I'm from St. Louis. I went to school in Alabama. After I left Alabama, I moved to Atlanta. I was in Atlanta for about a year. Mm-hmm. I worked for a holistic spa, so it was a black-owned women's spa. So I did, like, non-invasive services. So, you know how women go and get their body done. I was doing it naturally. Okay. So I know how to lift the butt. I know how to slim the waist. Know how to detoxify the body through natural remedies. So, like, foot detox and, like, lipo melt, those type of services, what I was doing. So, I had got an opportunity to move to Jersey. My brother was living up there. So, literally, once I was on my way there, I started to get sick. Like, I'm literally driving the car. Mm-hmm. I'm having to stop on the side of the road because I feel myself getting sick. And I'm changing altitudes, going from hot to cold. Mm-hmm. My system was just shutting down. So, literally, I got there maybe the beginning of November. By Thanksgiving, I was in the hospital.
What? Oh my
I
gosh.
spent, I think, the weekend of Thanksgiving in the hospital. So I would go to the hospital like every other weekend. I was hospitalized maybe about 3 times in Jersey. Mm-hmm. So once I just realized that I wasn't going to get any better by myself, I moved to Dallas. My mom lives in Dallas. So I literally drove from Jersey all the way to Dallas. It was like
wow.
It was during Super Bowl. It was Super Bowl 2019. So I ended up stopping. I came back to Atlanta for a day to rest here. And my mom, she flew to Atlanta and we drove to Dallas. So once I got to Dallas, I chilled for like a month, but then I started to feel sick again. And I was literally leaving work, going to the hospital like every other weekend. So it had gotten so bad, I was just like, I can't do it. I was in there for 2 weeks. My last time I was in there for 2 weeks. I'm like, I'm not leaving until y'all take it out. And it was like a foot of my intestines they had to take out. It was so chronic and so inflamed and closed. Mm-hmm. But it was a learning experience because in the hospital, you know, they talk to you like you're stupid. So, you know, when I get in there, I'm like, no, I got a degree in biology. Y'all not going to tell me nothing. Like, the doctor was literally, like, trying to write me a picture of it. I'm like, sir, you know, my intelligence is being, you know, y'all playing with my intelligence. Like, I know what it is. I'm not going to continue to get all these tests ran on me. I can literally tell them exactly what part of my intestines was infected, just based off my symptoms and based off me being sick before. I knew exactly where it was. So, they were trying to have me get all this radiation, and I was not going for it. So, finally, I ended up having the surgery, and I think I sat down for like a month, and I went back to work. And I was just determined. I'm like, God took me to Jersey for a reason. I'm like, I have to go back. So I think I moved and left Dallas maybe like May of 2019. Mm-hmm. No, I'm sorry. Maybe July of 2019. I left, and I drove all the way back to Jersey.
Baby, you a trooper, because I can't stand to be in a car for 8 hours.
I actually stopped in Huntsville, Alabama. I stopped where my school is. I spent the night there, and I drove the rest back. And that's just... during that time is when I built Natural State of Mind. Because I had already came up with the name, but I'm like, do I want it to be a podcast? Like, what do I want it to be? But then I was like, I need something tangible, like something that someone can touch and understand the meaning of my business. So I was just like, what was making me, like, what type of obstacles was I experiencing while I was sick? And it was my skin. My skin was severely broken off. Like, I would literally rub my skin and it would, like, flake off. Like, it's just from all the radiation, all the chemicals they give you in the hospital, and then me being so dehydrated from being in the hospital. So I was like, I got to figure out a way to do skincare. And I had to start doing a bunch of YouTube videos. And it's so crazy. A lot of white women do this industry. Like, they're dominating the industry. Like, it's black women that do it, but they're not doing it on a platform of, you know, really creating a brand out of it. They just doing it, you know, on the low scale, you know, mm-hmm. community, you know, based, but it's nothing that's making it look, you know, trendy. There's no trendy look of it. I know at least one woman that's in Brooklyn. She's a great business of hers, but it's not trendy. So I'm like, okay, let me get into it. So I did maybe like 2 or 3 months of research, and then I finally, when I moved back to Jersey, I like fully built the business. So I can say that Jersey is maybe my favorite city because they understood it. They just understand the culture of being organic and natural. Mm-hmm. And they are so supportive. Like, Newark, New Jersey, like, I love them dearly. Like, they supported me so much through my journey of even just reestablishing myself. Like, I only knew probably like a handful of people when I when I originally was there. But when I got back, it was so much love. Like, they feel like they were just waiting on me to come back. So, like, I experienced so much love up there and so many connections. Like, that's why I can't wait to see them when I go back next week. But, yes, they really took care of you, girl. Like, even when I was sick, the first time I was there, they were taking care of me. Like, they tried their damnedest to try to get me better. But it's just, you know, when it gets to a point where Crohn's is chronic, it's nothing you can really do. Once it's they're going to try to put you on certain medicine. And I was not taking medicine for 10 years. So go back from being holistic to now I'm taking all of this medicine. My body is not reacting well to it. It just, my body was just like, no, girl, I don't know what you're doing, but this is not right. So just like cut it out and just start over. So I feel like that was my restart, me driving back up there. And so, I spent the year there. So I spent maybe the mid of 2019 to 2020. So I left in the middle of the pandemic. Because, you know, I felt like I needed to do what I needed to do. Like, I went up there and made those connections, and I lived, maybe 15 miles from New York. So I would transition from New York to New Jersey, back and forth, networking and stuff like that. So I feel like, you know, once you figure out what you need to do, it's time to go. Like, Jersey is not for everybody. It's not somewhere you can economically build a business and a family at the same time because there's not too much ground. It's more of just, you know, building stacked on top of each other. So I'm like, I need to figure out somewhere to go and just really hone in on the business. And I kind of miss the countryside. You know, we live in the county, so, you know, we seeing cornfields and stuff like that. I'm used to seeing horses and deer and running stuff. So it's like I kind of miss that side of it. So I was like, where can I go that just makes sense to my business, was economically going to grow me? And Atlanta, I really did miss Atlanta. It's nothing like that city.
Girl, so, I'm trying to get there.
Yes, I'm like... Of course, when I moved, I make sure that I strategically make sense. Of course, I've lived in a few different states, but I always made sure that those made sense to my lifestyle. So when I came back, I wrote down everything, living close to the airport, you know, having transportation, how is traffic. I honed all those things, you know, how are the connections down there? Am I going to have connects to product? I think that's the only thing that I missed about living up on the East Coast, because who I buy my ingredients from, they live up there, in Harlem. I love my Africans in Harlem to carry a girl. So it's just that's the only part I'm missing. I have some people down there that I do buy shea and stuff like that from, but Atlanta's just economically right. It's just it's right for someone that's building a business, a black-owned business, and trying to start off. It's so much space and so much ground for you to grow in. So I was just once the pandemic hit, me and my brother was we gotta go. It's time to go back down to the South. It's we could always come back up here. I feel like you have to experience New York. You need that networking side, that, you know, that rush of the city. But the winters is not no joke. And it can really mess with your mental health being up there during those winter times. Trying to hustle and bustle and taking public transportation and trying to deal with all of that, and then having to have a vehicle. You know how many tickets I got living up there? Because they let you park somewhere you ain't supposed to park too long.
But Atlanta put the good old boot on the car.
Yeah, but Jersey will tow your car.
Ooh,
you'll come back in your car. It's not there.
Oh my God.
So I faced a lot of challenges living up there. But I mean, of course, it helped me in the end. But I shouldn't have to deal with this. It's ways of not dealing with this. So it's just why does the city? It's they be fighting against you up there. And it's unfortunate that, you know, our black people have to already deal with so many other things. Now I have to deal with your livelihood and make, you know, having transportation and stuff like that to deal with. So I miss it. I ain't gonna lie, I definitely miss Jersey. I miss the people more than anything. The culture is beautiful. They remind me of a mixture of a little bit of St. Louis, a little bit of Atlanta, and then they're just their swag. So they understand that, you know, just honing in, but they have that hard interior as well. So, you know, they keep you humble, but they keep you on task as well. They make sure they hold you accountable. I have so many different accountability partners up there. They reach out to me if I go too long without dropping content, or go too long without dropping products. They're reaching out to me. They're consistent customers. That's what I love about them. I think that's why we kind of missing in St. Louis, people not being consistent with reaching out to people that they know. It's kind of a restaurant that you go to, and you consistently go there, and then if they close or they just not up to par, you gonna reach out like what's going on, like, or somebody that cut your hair, like, hey, why you not cutting hair no more, why you not doing certain stuff. So it's like when you have people that enjoy your products and know that it's an essential to their life, they continuously make sure they reach out to me like, hey, what's going on, I need product, what you doing, your website not updated, like they stay on me. And I wish that my people back in St. Louis really understood the why my business is essential. Like, of course. So it's like doing networking with people back in St. Louis like you, just making sure people understand the essentials of Black skincare products and how, it's beneficial in the long run. Because it's like, of course, you might not see the effects of not using all natural products, but once you're 50 years old and you're having all these health problems and you're trying to go back 20 years to figure out where did it start, and it's from all these processed foods, all these sulfur chemicals, and just certain things that have played a part, and it's kind of hard for you to figure it out. And it's like, start now with natural skincare products. So I think this pandemic has just showed people that natural is the way.
Yes.
It's like, trying to figure out, natural remedies, and people taking all their vitamins, but it's like, why wasn't it like this before? Why did they have to take a pandemic for people to care about their skin and their system? So I think my business came at the right time. That's why I say God be working in mysterious ways. So I was like, I need to come back to the South because it's a little bit slower. Even Atlanta, they don't get it all the way as well either. Like when it comes to why is a Black person making soap? Like, even the way my soap even looks, like you don't see this at the store naturally. So it'd be like, can I trust it? But it's like, how can you trust going to a store of somebody that you don't know and buying a product and it don't even look like you? At least my products look like our skin color. Like,
right.
All my products are skin tone. So it's like, you go into a store and you buy a product that's white. It kind of like pulls back into biology. How does that make sense to your life? You using a product that doesn't even look like you. Doesn't even have the essence of what you are, but you are manipulating your body with products and putting it in your system, and you think that it's safe for you just because it's on the shelf in the store. So, did I answer your question? Look,
you did, but no, you did definitely, and you schooling me. So, what do you think of Dove soap?
It dries me out. Like, I feel like a sponge. Like, back when I used to use it, I felt so spongy and so, I feel like it literally pulls all the oils out of my skin. Mm-hmm. And I didn't even ever use it on my face. I just used it on my body, and it just felt so, like, squeaky. Like, you're not supposed to feel squeaky clean. Like, if some of your oils is supposed to stay in your body. So, I love Dove just for some people that have, like, sensitive skin. Like, they are great when it comes to their sensitive skin products, but they're just not for us because in the long run, like I'm thinking about, 20 years from now, Dove might not be where it's at for you. So, and then even for our kids, like exposing our kids to stuff like that, I mean, they are a great company when it comes to their community service base. Like the backbone of them is wonderful. I will never, take that from them. But I think just them not having enough, like just organic products is not beneficial for Black people. I feel like they're not marketing to us, even though you see all these Black women and men in their commercials, but you don't see them necessarily. I think, honestly, I feel like anybody that's in those commercials, they probably don't use some products. Like, this is truth be told. Like, you take the check, I get the check, but they probably not really using it because they probably got sensitive skin, they probably have some type of psoriasis or eczema, and they just doing it for the check. But the company is great, so I get it. It has it's good for good for business. So no shade to them, but if anybody is using any type of business, I definitely recommend like Shea Moisture. They have a great skincare line. Dr. Bronner's, I think they're like the top tier #1 skincare business. From what I've used their products, great. I love their products. They're very natural. They care about the environment and stuff like that. So they are great. If you're trying to give up using Dove, go to Dr. Bronner's. Of course, Natural State of Fine.
I'm asking because that's what I use. So I'm like, she's schooling me. Let me ask about some products.
Yeah, you should try Dr.
use.
Bronner's. They are great. They're a great business. Like, especially I don't have a liquid soap, and I know people love liquid soap. So they are great when it comes to liquid soap. Yeah, definitely good.
Cool. So how did you come up with Natural State of Mind? You briefly touched on it, but what was the thought process behind the name?
So I stopped wearing makeup in 2000 and I think actually the New Year. So New Year of 2018 was the last time I wore a face full of makeup. So I do like a little bit of modeling. So when I'm modeling, of course they want you to wear makeup. So I wear makeup, but I haven't physically put makeup on my face myself, like liquid, powder. and we're now year 3. Mm-hmm. So once I started not wearing makeup, it kind of like helped my self-esteem, and I'm like, what is driving me to be so natural? Like, where is it coming from? And then I was about to move to Jersey, so I'm like, natural state of mind. I'm like, state of mind. I'm like, okay, so I feel like my mindset is changing, so it gotta be a natural. So I'm like, okay, how do I put this together? So I'm like, this is when I was thinking of it being a podcast. So I'm like, okay, in a podcast mind, like when I'm vocally speaking these things out, is my mindset being tied to my business? So I'm like, the name has to correlate with my mission statement. So I was like, okay, natural state of mind. So I'm like, especially as back then I was doing holistic services, so people know me from being a naturalist anyway. So I'm like, the name just makes sense. It flows well. So I'm like, okay. And once I finally started doing the soap, I'm like, it just totally makes sense. Like, maybe one day I will do podcasts, but I try to stay in my lane. Now I tell y'all, I try to stay in my lane. Like, of course, I love dressing up and stuff like that, but journalism and branding and marketing is not my forte. Like, if I could hire somebody to do everything that I do not want to do and just stick to doing soap, I definitely would. Just stick to a natural state of mind, because once I start stepping out of my comfort zone is when I'm not in a natural state of mind anymore. So it's like, it's like the name is accountability as well. So I'm like, I needed a business name that's going to still hold me accountable to my actions. So I'm like, natural state of mind. Like, I got to stick to it. So anytime I feel like I'm getting off bases and I'm becoming overwhelmed, I instantly think about the name. Like, go back, natural state of mind. Get back on your stuff. Like, stick to the brand. So
I like that.
Yeah, thank you.
That's cute. I like that.
Yeah, so I'm like, I gotta think of something it works with me. So I'm like, not wearing makeup, it just changed me so much. Not wearing makeup, it made me just show up for myself, like see myself for who I am and not who I think I'm supposed to be.
Ooh,
and of course,
preach.
I'm not against anybody that wears makeup. I think makeup is an art. Like, it's an art within itself, and I feel like you just have to know you have to pick the right company. So it's nothing wrong with wearing makeup, but you got to make sure your skin care is right. So even though you putting this makeup on, you got to make sure that you have the right essential products, like make sure you have a moisturizer, or serum, SPF before you put your makeup on. So it's like, that's the part where I feel like a lot of people that wear makeup are missing, because it's like, makeup is to enhance your beauty, not cover your beauty. So and I feel like it became a part of your self-esteem, and it's not supposed to be. It's like being happy before you get into a relationship. Like, you're supposed to already be happy before you put the makeup on. You're not using it to make you happy. So that's why I love makeup. I literally will watch YouTube videos of people doing makeup. Like, I still love the industry of makeup. I just feel like it's not for me to do. Like, I leave it, like I said, staying in my lane. Like, if I'm gonna wear makeup again, I'm gonna make sure I'm a professional who's doing it, because I want to make sure that I understand the chemicals that's being used. And since I'm not tapping into making makeup products, I want to make sure a professional that has done the education and know what they're talking about. So I feel like anybody that's wearing makeup, I recommend anybody going to get a makeup lesson from someone, even like, going to like Sephora or like Ulta, or doing like a private lesson. Like, that is essential before you start wearing makeup, because you don't want to be using it wrong. You could be allergic to anything. It could throw off, it could chemically imbalance you. So having those like vegan makeup products, and it's a lot of Black owned makeup skincare products out here. So it's like sticking to the essence of who you are as well. It's like not going for products because they're most expensive, or they have so much notoriety. Google what the product, what's in the products. Like, of course, it's big words, but instantly Google will tell you anything. So it's like doing the education. So I feel like anytime I'm maybe when I will go back to wearing makeup, maybe one day, I don't even know when it will be, but because I do love makeup, but I feel like I don't have enough education to be wearing it. So it's just like, I'm not going to step back in something I don't know about.
Oh, that makes sense.
Especially 4 years. Makeup has evolved so much in 4 years.
So how do you pick your soaps and your body butter? Like, how do you choose what you're going to make?
So I'm a Gemini. So if people know anything about Geminis, we are very whimsical. And we just come up with things in our mind. Like, when I say Kanye, like that Kanye like energy and mindset, it's real. Like, it's very, we are very spontaneous people, and honestly, the world is really my teacher when it comes to me coming up with my products. Like, I use people as like my research studies. Like, so people DM me all the time, sending me pictures of their skin and stuff like that. So once I see your skin, I'm gonna research photos, and I did a lot of work into it. So just knowing what people need And so when I started doing my new collection, it was called Auntie's Love. So that was the one I started.
I thought that was cute. And then you had some very good marketing.
Thank you, girl. So, of course, Auntie's Love. I've been an auntie since I was like 12 years old. So when I'm around my nieces and nephews, they just bring that natural state of mind out of me. And that's really how I came up with the business too, because just honing back to your natural state of mind. So kids, they absorb literally everything. And they're so intelligent. You learn so much about yourself just from being around children. So, being around them, they just made me realize like how natural I need to be, because it's like, we live in a world where, social media and, we have to create this facade, but when you be around kids, they don't like none of that. They able to read you so good. So I feel like with this new collection, Auntie's Love, it's kind of like it's reading people. So I feel like it was my way to start incorporating fruits and vegetables. So anybody would DM me asking me certain questions about skincare products and stuff like that. I'm like, well, what fruits help with the skin? So I'm like, okay, I just started looking at different ones. So I have a soap that had bananas in it, which is great for the skin because it has a lot of antioxidants in it. I had a soap that had cucumber juice in it, so it's good for inflammatory of the skin. And then I had a soap that has fresh carrot juice, which is great for making the skin look vibrant and helping discoloration of the skin. Oh. And then
I'm gonna have to start drinking carrot juice. I know it may be a little gross, but I'm gonna have to start drinking that.
If you like make like a smoothie out of it, like just put a little bit of carrot juice in there, like just figure out ways to take the taste of it, of course. But yeah, I had one that had carrot juice in it. I had one that had my new collection. I did like a Valentine's Day collection, so I had one that had like pomegranate juice in it, which is great for helping with like acne and inflamed skin. Then I did one that had fresh blueberries, like I juiced them and put like the compost of it, and I put that in the soap as well. So, and then I had one that I did with like sea moss and honey in it. So, of course, honey is just like great for the skin. So, I'm just very spontaneous. I feel like what I eat is what I incorporate.
Right.
So it's like that's how my way of like making sure that I'm sticking to the brand. So like I love oranges, and like my body butter has sweet orange oil in it. So which is good for it's good for us being in this pandemic. So, it helps fight off any abnormal obscurities that come to you. So, coming in contact with people that might be sick and stuff like that. It's like a shield. It's kind of like, I won't say it is sunscreen, but it's a skin protecting on the skin. So it helps you with like UV rays from the sun and stuff like that. It's a great protecting, and it's good for the immune system. So like during the pandemic when it was cold outside, I was telling people like make sure you extremely using it on your neck and on your chest, making sure you open up your pores so that the body butter can really absorb in there and it kind of fight off any of those germs or infections that you're coming in contact with. So when I did the business, I made sure that, of course, for skincare they think it's all about the image, but I try to make sure that it's literally beneficial for your body, like it's healing you from the outside in.
That makes sense.
Yeah, so, and I'm like, Auntie's Love, it's like my love I'm giving to my customers. Like, I feel like if I'm going to say I love my own skin, I feel like I need to make sure that my customers feel the love as well. So, giving them that love that I experienced through my nieces and nephew, like, with the kids, they give you that such organic love. So, I'm like, they are always my push. I always think about them. So, every time I start a new collection, I always come home. So, right now, I'm about to start a new collection. So I'm like, let me come home and be around them and, try to absorb their little energy. So see what I come up with, what piques my mind after I leave. So I think now this is like my 4th collection. So my first one was called, no, is it my 4th? I'm about to start my 3rd. So okay. My first one was Mother's Love. So I did one, just based around women, more just majority of women and stuff like that. Then now I moved on to Auntie's Love. And then my next one's going to be called No Gray Area.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah, No Gray Area. Because I feel like with biology, you kind of, and right now I'm getting my master's in public health as well. So I'm getting my master's. So in public health, it's not really a gray area. And I feel like with me not having a gray area, it has affected relationships that I have because I don't see the difference between, when it comes to mental health, like if I see you, or if some type of mental stuff is going on, me as a public health advocate, I cannot speak on it. But I'm learning not to. I don't want to use people as my research. Like of course I want to just be a friend to people, but it's kind of hard when this is my field, and I'm just learning that I don't have a gray area. Either I can be as loving as possible, or I have to be as politically correct as possible. So it's like it's no in between. But I'm like doing this next collection is kind of like therapy. Like I feel like every collection is some type of therapy for me to push out what I'm going through. So during this pandemic, I have lost so many relationships, honestly, and I can't necessarily say it's because of them. It's because of me. Because public health is numbers. It's all a number game with statistics, and I don't want the people I'm around to become a statistic. So,
Right.
and I'm doing so much research about. I do research papers on St. Louis a lot. Like I make sure I understand what's going on in my community, and then I come around people that are literally experiencing the effects of St. Louis. So it's kind of hard for me to sit and watch it. So the way of my structure of mind has changed so much that I can understand how sometimes I could be very too opinionated or too straightforward. And it's like, well, let me do a collection that so people can understand why I'm such a great area. And of course I'm such a creative person, but when it comes to health and science, I have no fluff. I'm no fluff to it. And of course, with social media, it makes you think you're supposed to be very fluffy and create an aesthetic and an imagery. And of course, I have to do that for business purposes. But if I could just sell soap and not have to make it a facade, just tell you like, hey, you need this soap because your skin looking bad, and I'm tired of your skin looking like that. Like it's just I can't do the in between. That's why I say I'm staying in my lane and hiring people that can do the fluff of my business. My business is to educate you, not to influence you. So I'm educating you of how you need to be using these products. Even if you're not necessarily using mine, use somebody that has the same type of, type of products. But I'm not here to influence you like I'm trying to sell you something. I'm trying to show you the benefits of using skincare products like this. So that's why I'm like, no gray area is gonna really make people understand. Like, of course I have a creative side of me, but I have a very educational side of me, and being able to don't forget, like don't confuse these looks, and don't forget this knowledge. Like it's a reason behind it. I went to school for a long time for this, so I'm like, I don't want to lose that part of me. So I think with this new collection, I'm gonna be a little bit more vocal, a little bit more posting more videos really talking about the products. So I'm like, let me do like do some interviews and really give people a refresher on why I started the business and stuff like that. So yes, it's one of these little baby soaps right here. So can you see it? Okay, yeah, there you go.
Soft, it smells good, it has the odor at the top. So tell me about this one.
I think this one was called Baby Banana or something like that. Yeah, I just becoming a real creative. That's the only way I can stay creative, is like having little creative names to go with them. So this one has fresh bananas in it and oatmeal as well. So I think it has different essential oils. So I always use like vitamin E oil, jojoba oil. Every soap has at least mango butter, shea butter, and cocoa butter in there. And then I just love using essential oils. So, like I was saying, of course, about like the Kanye vibe, like I literally write down the ingredients, but I'm very freestyle. So, I just go based off what I got in my cabinet, like, let me just do a little dab of this, little dab of that. So, when I put my essential oil stuff in there, I don't calculate that. So, I do calculate like the hard oils and soft oils, but I go real remix on the essential oils. I just really try to go with the vibe. But, of course, I still included like in the instructions so everybody can know what's in them, but I do not measure that part, and I think that's my way of being able to replicate my products.
I like that. You
being
smart.
able to not replicate my products, so because it's not to the T, and of course I don't even put it in order. Usually like you're supposed to put it in order of like most to less. No, all freestyle, so no one can replicate it. But I did like a big wholesale order, and I had some left over, so I did like some little mini ones. So this one is great for people that have eczema, irritating skin, dry skin. I always recommend these for using for babies, newborn babies, to help with that. It's very gentle on the skin. Like I just finished up a bar of it like the other day, so it's great and gentle on the skin. All my soaps are very mild. They have it has a smell to it, but not too bad. It's like it's very subtle.
Yeah, very subtle.
Yeah, try to keep it very subtle. Yeah, very smooth to them. And this is called hot process. So it basically means that I cook it to 200 degrees in a crock pot, and then I place it inside of a mold, and it sits in the mold for about 24 hours, and then it's ready to cut and use.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so it's a quick make soap. So they have, you can either do hard process or you can do cold process. So cold process is the one where it literally is just like liquid when you pour it in there. This one looks like Vaseline when I pour it in there. So with the cold process, you have to let it sit for like 6 to 8 weeks. I have no patience. I have no patience because I'm like, I need to have this ready. So I maybe let them sit for maybe 4 or 5 days, just depending on how many soft oils I put in it. So like soft oils is just like coconut oil, canola oil, those oils that come liquid. They can always be liquid. But this one I put like a lot of hard oils for the babies and stuff like that, so really help absorb into their skin and stuff like that. So I try to get products out as soon as possible. But it is a process, and I try to tell people, like, of course, I can knock out a soap in 24 hours, but I like to let certain soaps sit. Like, I had a mango soap. Like, if you think about mango, it's very soft, it's very cushiony, so I had to let that soap sit for, like, a week. Like, it's very, very soft. So once you use it, it's literally, like, smoothing onto the skin. Like, this one is hard one, so it'll last a little bit longer. So, like, if you have it in the shower with the mango soap, it dissolves too quickly. So I have to let it sit for a little while, yeah. So that's how I come up with it.
I love mangoes. I need to try that mango soap.
I'm thinking about doing like a little remix, maybe like in the springtime. Like after I do the No Gray Area, I think I'm gonna come back and do like some remixes of the old ones. Like mango was a very popular one. People love the carrot juice one because I put like turmeric in that as well. They love that one, and they love Black Love, which is like the black soap. That's like my original one that when I first started. So I think I'm gonna do like a throwback Thursday or something like that. And, you know, come back with those because people really love those. And I try to do like collections. People be like, girl, give me that last soap that you had. Like, I understand the vision, what you're trying to do, but I have a soap that I like, and I want to stick to that, and I get it, but you gotta try new stuff. Y'all be all right.
Step outside the box.
Right. That's what my business is all about, because who would think to bathe with pomegranate juice? Like, you know, they never think that you could even, you know, be able to do those type of things. So I try to, you know, open people's mindset. I think that's one thing, too. I think we could be a little bit closed-minded to stuff, and me having this business and being a black woman and having this business, like, I think I'm opening up people's minds to a lot of different things. So that's why I was like, let me play around with different juices and vegetables, and let people, you know, understand that there's levels to how we can consume our nutrients. So it's like, who would think that you could do it in a soap? So, you know.
Like it. I really just like the thought process and the creativity behind everything that you're saying and doing. It's not just I'm doing this. It's I'm thinking, it's a process, and it's literally levels.
Yes, because it's with dealing with essential oils, people have to understand how powerful they really are. And I think, like, of course, now we're in this pandemic, people are really understanding, like, essential oils is, you know, essential. That's what the name is for. But when you work with them and you heat them up, it absorbs into you. So when I'm working on a new collection, I really try to remove myself. And I think that's why I have lost relationships, because I have to hone back on myself, and I have to understand that transfer of energy. So it's like I get into having all these spats with people, and then I go make soap, and I transfer it to my customers, and I'm playing with essential oils. So I have to be delicate about it. It's like I can't let my customers suffer because of my personal situation that I'm going through in my life. So it's like when my father had died last year.
I'm sorry.
So thank you. So when he had died, I took like a 3-month hiatus because they grief. I'm like, I don't want to transfer grief to customers. And I feel like I'm not in it to make money. Like, I'm in it to, you know, really help people. So it's just like I had to take that time, that break, and really set. And that's when I came up with Auntie's Love. That's when I was like, I have to take breaks from it. So I restrain for certain human contact. So of course, you know how we in this pandemic, and we know we can't really touch each other and stuff like that. I was doing that before the pandemic. That's why I'm like, my mindset has been in a pandemic for a long time, restraining from physical contact and physical interaction, and even having certain conversations with people, or even like eye contact with certain people. Like, people really know how to absorb energies of people, and I'm an empath person, so I always feel like I gotta help somebody. Of course, with the business I'm in, I feel like I'm a helping person anyway. So, and me doing public health. So it's like I have to really restrain from certain interactions because of the business I do. Because I'm like, I don't want it to negatively affect somebody that I put my hands on.
Right.
And, you know, transfer that energy to them. So it's like I'm using this time to take accountability for the parts that I play and how heavy my energy could be. And I'm like, that's why I'm like, no gray area will make people really understand why I act the way I act, or how my energy can be so strong, and how, of course, my energy could probably be a little bit intimidating, but you have to understand, I'm dealing with oils that are supposed to switch your brain receptors. They instantly are supposed to be used to help either relax you or energize you. So if my energy coming off so strong, might not necessarily be me, it might be the soap I use that day.
Right.
So it's like, you know, I had to make them really hone back to the essence of why maybe I came off so strong, or why my energy could have been a little weird to you. And it's probably because they've been so stuck in that energy they've been in, they've never smelled or felt somebody with this type of essence of them. So it could be intimidating. So I had to take accountability. Like, you know, you could be an intimidated person to some people, and maybe not ready to really see themselves. They're not really to consume what you have to say. And I have to restrain from just feeling like I gotta help everybody. So it's just like, I think
that right there.
So no gray area is really gonna make people really understand the reasons of how essential oils can really change your energy and your mood and your spirit and stuff like that. So it's just me trying to, my next collection is holding myself accountable, really what it is. So hopefully people understand it. And this new collection, I am doing candles with it. So I'm stepping into a new realm. So
Okay,
it's like, yes,
I'm ready for this.
yes,
I'm excited.
Yeah, so it's like, I think the only thing is when you do products is people get so used to it. Like I was saying, how people get so used to it. It's like, I feel like I'm not going to continue doing the candles. Like I think it ties in, like they're going to be black and white. So
A limited edition.
It's like a limited edition. So it's like, and one of them's going to be white and one's going to be black. So it's going to basically being able to smell like my energy and be able to give that off. So I'm going to do like a white soap and a black soap to go with it. So
I like that.
Yeah,
That's
so,
pretty cool. I'm excited for you.
Thank you. Girl, I've been working on this collection since like December. And it be like, I'm just learning patience. Like it's a reason for the season. So I'm like, I don't think back in December I was in the right season to do no gray area. I think I wasn't holding myself accountable yet. Mm-hmm. And I feel like some people had to cut more people had to cut me off. Like I think I needed to be people need to remove themselves from my presence for me to really understand the reason for it. Because I've had the products for literally like 2 months, and I just been keeping them stored away. And I feel like once a few relationships cut off, now I get it. Now I'm like, okay, now I'm ready for the collection. Now I can really hone in and educate how I'm supposed to be, because I was doing it back then. Oh, I need to do something. But it's like now I get it. Like nah, it's a reason for everything. So now I'm ready to really talk about this collection and really experience it and just educate people on these. Cause I think my candles are such a mood changer too. And that's why my candles are gonna have essential oils. It's like no fabricated oil. So none of my products have they're not fragrance. All of it's all natural coloring, all natural fragrances. So I think with that, having that candle in your house is instantly gonna change your mood.
It is, because when you wake up and you smell something good, and they say you are what you eat. Mm-hmm. You are what you whatever.
What you consume. Right.
When
the candle instantly goes into your into your nose, through your eyes, through your mouth, and it's gonna really absorb into you. So I'm like, let me keep it all natural, because I did think about doing some like fragrance oils, but my friend was telling me, she was like, girl, stick to what you know. And I'm like, staying in my lane.
Stay in your lane.
Stay in my lane, because I don't know nothing about them fragrance oils.
I think it's very important to stay in your lane. So if y'all don't take anything from this video, what is Alexis telling y'all? Stay in your lane.
Yeah, stay in your lane. And hire people. Like, I think we just get so thinking that we can do everything, but my analogy is skill over will. You might have the skill to do it, but you don't have the will. You know that your mind is not wrapped around doing it. So why literally hurt your brain to try to get something done when you can pass this on to somebody that would love to do this for you? Probably been watching your brand for so long and just ready to just tackle everything that you are so honed on doing. And then especially when you get so wrapped in trying to do it, you end up delaying it. Mm-hmm. Like delaying process. Like I have delayed so many collections because I'm thinking I'm supposed to do everything. But I end up hiring a PR manager. Like I end up hiring different people. I end up hiring a writer, like to help me with my website. Like I hire different people, because it's like I gotta stick to what I know and stick to the product. So it's like skill over will. I probably could do all of that stuff, but why should I? It's not my profession. So I'm like, I gotta stick to what I know.
I like that, because you're thinking about other people and helping putting other people on and bringing them into your environment and passing things on to them. So what advice do you have for anyone that wants to start their own business and don't know where to start?
Education. I think educating yourself. We are in a day and age where every resource is available to you. I learned how to make soap off YouTube. Like I probably maybe 40 hours of just consistently watching it, and it was intimidating for me. So I was just like, I have to continue to watch, continue to educate myself. I bought books. I did seminars with different chemists and stuff like that. Just very educating yourself, just making sure you know it. So nobody can tell you nothing. Mm-hmm. And of course, we don't want to be in that mindset of feel like can nobody tell us nothing. But when you know so much about your business, you can educate the next person. So it's like, it's not even about feeling like you know everything. Just feeling like you can pass it on. Because I feel like it's going to get to a point where I'm going to get out the lab and I want to employ people to make soap. And, it starts with myself first. So I can't be an educator if I'm not educated first.
Right.
So I feel like knowing everything you need to know and using your resources. I think I'm bad with that sometimes too, because of course we know so many people, but I don't tap all the way into my resources. So making sure I'm tapping in, asking questions. I instantly DM other people that make soap. I write underneath they pictures and write ask them questions. Like don't hesitate to ask people. Like I feel like we be intimidated by other people's success, but they waiting to give that information to you. They want to, or even having to buy seminars, buy different stuff. Put the money into it. Like you can't step into any type of business and not feel like you're not gonna put no money for it. So it's like putting that money. I feel like I have spent so much money on this business. Like it's stressful sometimes, but I feel like saving as well is the biggest thing. Saving and not going over your means. Like of course I'm a traveler, but I promise y'all I be traveling for business purposes. Like I don't go nowhere without my business being taken with me, either having a bar soap in my purse or having a card or something I'm passing along to continue to keep my business alive. Right. So even though I might be people think I'm traveling just for vacation. Nothing in this year of 2021 is a vacation for me. Mm-hmm. Like it's everything is personal for real. So making sure that just educating yourself is the biggest thing I can say, because I literally took like a whole month of teaching myself before I even bought any ingredients, because I was intimidated. I was just like, what do I know about making soap? Like, even though how I got into the beauty industry, I was a certified lash technician I'm now going on 6 years. But yes, I used to do lashes. And when I tell y'all, I think, don't get me wrong, it's a very rewarding avenue to be in, and it definitely teaches you so much of how to be genuine, how to have integrity, how to love yourself so that you can be able to show somebody how beautiful they are. Mm-hmm. It creates that, but at the same time it can make you lose sight of humanity sometimes, because it can become a little bit vain. So it's like, I feel like me personally, I started thinking about the money more than I was thinking about the purpose. So it was just like, I love doing lashes and I love making people feel beautiful, but I had to remember that I went to school for science. And it's so crazy. A lot of women that do lashes are nurses. They are doctors. They are, they are in the medical field, so they still have that. But I felt like I was losing sight of the reason why I was doing lashes. And I feel like once I got sick, it kind of made me revert, like, okay, hold on, pull yourself back a little bit. Think about why you're doing this. And it's like, was I doing lashes to make money? Mm-hmm. Or was I doing lashes because I really love doing it? And of course, I do love it, but I don't love it that much that it's a career for me. I think it's a great career. I feel like a lot of women should continue to make that a career for them. But most women that do it, it's just a stepping stone for something else they're doing. They just doing that to be able to become a doctor or a nurse, something like that. It's that middle part. And I think sometimes you have to understand when it's a cycle. And I feel like I was just going through the cycle. Lashes was not going to be my end-all, be-all. Like, I have mm-hmm. other, goals for it. But it taught me so much that I needed to know about being a feminist and being a woman and thinking about other women before I think about myself. And, just those, parts of the business. But I had to realize that that's not the purpose that God made for me. And that's why once I started to kind of like remove myself from doing lashes, I started becoming an educator. I started teaching other women how to start a business on, doing lashes and stuff like that. So just passing it on. And I do it like from time to time for certain customers and clients, but I'm really trying to remove myself because I love the beauty industry, but I love skincare. And of course, honestly, in my opinion, beauty and skincare is two totally different things, in my opinion. Skincare is an essential to your life. It's like bathing it's bathing yourself. So you cannot describe that to beauty. It's a necessity. It's a necessity, and beauty is a luxury.
Right.
You
don't need makeup.
Right. You don't need makeup. You don't need certain things. So it's like you don't need to wear lashes and stuff like that. So I had to learn the difference between beauty and skincare. And I feel like it was a point in time where I was mixing the two. So once I really deciphered between the two, I realized that doing lashes wasn't for me anymore. It doesn't feed my heart anymore. Like, it feeds my pocket. The money is great. And I tell you, I miss that money because the thing about it is back then I was 20 years old, mm-hmm. making like $50,000, $60,000 a year just off of doing lashes, and I was doing it part-time. So, and that's why I'm just like, it's a lucrative business, but you gotta love it. You gotta really love that. You gotta really have the patience, because it's so time consuming and so tedious, stuff like that. So you gotta really love it. So I'm shouting out all my women that are lash technicians. I salute y'all. That is It takes a toll on y'all body. I already know, on y'all time, and I'm saluting y'all for even having the courage to step into the industry because it's a lot.